for the few Jewish intellects, from the real problem, and they're very good at that. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. I was going to ask. Well, David Bernstein was here. He was talking about more like about resources and taking over land. So I was wondering, I believe when you say it comes down to really like you say how like peer pressure upon the parents is Jewish, is Israeli, growing up in an Israeli society and Jewishness or whatever. Pardon me, I don't know too much about it, but really is a big peer pressure.
Yeah.
I believe that is what maybe drives them to do what they do, but also, like David Bernstein was saying, do you think there's also a conflict between maybe the Americans wanting to try to take over land? Is it for oil and try to take over more of the Arabian land? Like I say, I see two differences between what you're saying and basically religious type Jewish, is what's making them do what they do, which I believe. But also, is there an outside, do you think they're also being, pushed also by greed, maybe land and, resources? You know what I mean? Do you think there's two sides, kind of? Or is it just basically what you were saying is the main point? Oh. Basically, when you come down to say, who we are is what really matters.
I think that I understand your question, and I think that
Recapitulate it.
Want me to say it one more time?
No, let them speak it.
if I understand it correctly, it comes down to the question whether we are dealing here with the kind of upbringing and cultural, or whether it is something that is more inherent to Jews as Jews. Am I right?
Yeah, basically, are you trying to say basically what you were saying, religion, is that what you're kind of saying, drives them, is what,
Okay.
Why they want to take over land because they're Zionists, or does it have to do also with,
Okay.
taking over, for resources,
For those who didn't read my book, I'll make it very clear. I differentiate between Jews, Judaism, and Jewishness. We explored that one. I also ask myself, who are the people who identify as Jews? And I could think of three categories. People who believe in the Torah, which is an innocent category. People who say we are Jews because we have Jewish ancestry. And the third category, which is most interesting, people who say we are Jews, we are primarily Jewish. Now this is a very strange category, but this is where the problem is. Chaim Weizmann, who was the first Israeli president and one of the probably the most important early Zionist leader, said there are no American Jews, French Jews, English Jews. There are Jews who live in America, Jews who live in France, Jews who live in Germany. He actually saw Jewishness as a primary quality. Now, if you think of Torah Jews, Orthodox Jews, they belong to the three categories. They believe in the Torah, they have Jewish ancestry, and they see themselves as primary Jews. If you think of a Jewish settler from Brooklyn living in Beth El, three categories. He believes in the Torah, he has Jewish ancestry, and he definitely sees Jewishness as the most important thing. We had a lady here today, she had an interview with me, and she said, Shavuot, apparently it's a kind of a Jewish Eid today. She said, Shavuot, you don't celebrate Shavuot. And how do you celebrate Shavuot? You eat cheesecake. So good. Jewishness is really, Judaism is really deep. You know, you eat cheesecake. In each celebration, Jewish fest, we eat a different cake. But obviously Judaism is slightly slightly deeper than that. Now, when it comes to JVP, I think, are largely secular group, so they don't believe in the Torah, but they have Jewish ancestry.
Sorry, what I was asking was basically like.
Just a second. They have Jewish ancestry, and they see themselves primarily as Jewish, because they are not voice for peace who happen to be Jewish. They are Jewish voice for peace. The Jewish is the primary quality. And this is why we are not talking about blood or genes or anything. We are talking about a unique form of identity discourse. People ask me, why do you pick on the Jews? Why don't you talk about feminists, black marginal politics? And they're right. The politics is very similar in all marginal politics. But feminists don't have 300 atomic bombs. And gays marginal politics don't have their lobbies pushing America to attack another country. Though they sometimes help, because if it's a Muslim country, they don't like it, they support it from the Jews, from the side. But still, they don't have atomic bombs. Black politics in this country, they don't drag this country into wars. Jewish politics does, in the open.
So yeah, like I was saying, like when other countries sometimes conquer another country, it's also usually it's for land and regional. So this is basically conquered over for religious reasons. Is that?
Okay, now I understand. Okay, yes, I'll address it and Zionism indeed transformed the Bible from a spiritual text into a land deed, into a property ownership. And this is not what Judaism is all about. I think that there are other people who want
And I
to.
was going to say.
Next.
Okay.
How long do we want this to go on? First of all,
We can take, let's say, 3 more questions on that. And because then after that,